Hello everyone, welcome to my channel EuroStudyPro. Today we're diving into the changes between the old and the newer version of the GMAT. Specifically, we're focusing on what sets the GMAT Focus apart. First, we'll look at the notable differences, then we'll consider the modifications made to the content of the exam, and finally there's the makeup of the score itself. If you watch all the way to the end of the video, you will learn about a new feature that is crucial for you to uplift your score. So to start off our comparison between the older and the newer version, the most notable change is the reduction in time duration, making the exam nearly an hour shorter than it used to be. It's now divided into 3 sections, each lasting 45 minutes. The quant, the verbal, and the data insights. They might sound very similar to the old test, but there are significant differences that we will get into later. Despite the shorter time frame, you don't have to worry about the score's validity since both versions are still widely accepted by universities across the world. Something that stayed the same is they can still either take the test online or the test location for multiple attempts. I personally chose to take it at a location of GMAT itself for several reasons, but for me the most important one was the secure environment and the test taking mode that you go into once you enter these locations. But this of course remains a personal decision that's totally up to you. Now the most important part of this video in my opinion is the content. I've already mentioned the 3 sections earlier in this video, but I haven't yet elaborated on what the differences are exactly. One way to put it is that the quant version, the quant section, has been broken up into 2, only leaving the problem solving questions. The second section, the verbal, has lost its sentence correction part, and a new section has been introduced, which is called the data insights. In data insights, it has been made up of the integrative reasoning that used to be a separate part that didn't add up to the total score you'd get, and that is also made up out of the data sufficiency questions that used to be part of quant. Another new key change is that you can use an integrated calculator in the test-taking ecosystem with the data insights. This could be a benefit for you if you don't like number crunching, but in my opinion it's a bit of a burden because you need to learn how to use this tool effectively while taking the test under time pressure. So I don't think it's that much of an addition, like a benefit, but everyone's different. What did stay the same is that you can order the sections of the test to your liking. So that is a big benefit if you prefer the quant section at the beginning and the verbal section at the end, like me, but you can choose for yourself. Try to experiment and you'll find the best way for you. I do still really want to press the following. The weight for each part is the same, from which I draw the conclusion that your score is now more determined by data and number related questions, and this could be a benefit for you if you're naturally stronger in quantitative questions and maybe English is not your native language. But this also means that you might want to take the older version if you feel like verbal is your more stronger side compared to the quantitative questions. It's up to you. Now let's move on to the score system of the GMAT. The scoring on the GMAT has seen significant changes, causing it to be difficult for people that are new to the GMAT to compare scores. That is the case because the percentile rankings and the score system itself have changed. Let's bring some numbers into the equation to make it a bit more clear. The possible score used to range between 200 and 800, with 600 being a 50th percentile score and 710 being a 90th percentile score. Now that has changed to a range between 205 and 805, with 545 being a 50th percentile score and 645 being a 90th percentile score. Here we can see that the average GMAT score on the GMAT Focus for this has gone down for the same percentiles. For instance, I got a 760 on the older version of the GMAT, which represented a 99th percentile score. However, for the GMAT Focus, this would only constitute a 705 for the same percentile. This certainly does not mean that the older or the newer version is better to get a high score on the GMAT. It only means that you will have to look at some tables comparing the scores with the percentiles for both tests, which one you're taking, and then determine which score would be your ideal score to obtain a percentile that is representative of the average student that applies to your dream university. In the intro, I promised you to talk about a crucial feature that is completely new on the GMAT. This is the question review and edit tool. It's supposed to give you more control over the answers to your questions by allowing you to edit responses later in each section. With this tool, you can spend less time on questions you're unsure about, knowing you can go back to these questions later if you have time left. Here's how it works. As you move through a section, you can bookmark questions that you struggle with and that you would like to review later. When you have answered all questions in a section, you'll proceed to a specific question review and edit screen for that specific section, but only if you have time left. Each question review and edit screen includes a numbered list of questions in that section and indicates the questions that you have bookmarked. Then you can review the questions, as many as you like, but you can only change the answers for 3 of them. You will definitely want to practice this new feature of the GMAT because it is a potential game changer if you sometimes make sloppy mistakes and have some time left, or in general if you are really well at estimating which questions are easily doable or which you think you would need more time for. You can review them later and maybe you'll realize that they're easier than you expected in your first assessment. So there you have it, the GMAT Focus edition compared to the older edition. Remember to check out the description of this video to find my sources and to read everything again, written and explained by the creators of the GMAT themselves. Thank you for watching all the way to the end, and make sure to leave questions if you have any, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you for watching, and cheers.